Hello students, welcome to this video tutorial on subtracting integers supernote. Part A, Method 1, integer tiles. Okay, let's begin. When subtracting integers with tiles, we must remember to remove tiles. Now, when we're using tiles for subtraction of integers, it is a completely different method from when we use tiles for adding integers. So I want you to kind of leave all of your knowledge of adding integers aside for the moment. Okay, so these are the steps. So rather than read them through now, we're going to revisit them as we work on the questions. Okay, so let's look at example 1. Positive 5 subtract positive 2. Okay, so let's review our rules for writing questions and answers in standard form. When we have a positive integer, we take off the brackets and take off the plus sign. So our first integer is positive 5, so we rewrite that in standard form as simply just 5. We have the subtraction symbol here, subtract. And then we have another positive integer. So we're going to take away the brackets and the positive sign. Okay, so when we write it in standard form, this question looks very, very simple. All right, let's go through our steps. Step 1, we draw the first integer. So the first integer is positive 5. So let's draw that neatly here underneath the question. So positive 5 is simply 5 positive integers. Okay. All right, so we've taken care of step 1. Draw the first integer. Positive 5, 5 positive tiles. Let's go to step 2. See if you can take away the second integer. So the second integer is positive 2. So from this diagram here, can I take away 2 positive tiles? Well, sure I can, because I've got 5 positive tiles. So I'm going to change my color here, and I'm going to circle 2 positive tiles that I want to take away or remove. Okay. All right, let's go to step 2. So let's write an equal sign or an arrow. Either one will do. Now, once we take away these 2 positives, because the second integer was positive 2, what's left in our question? Well, we have 3 positive tiles. And that's our answer. So beside or underneath your integer tile diagram, you can write the answer here in brackets. Okay, final step. Now notice we didn't need step 3 or 4, okay? We went straight to step 5, redraw what remains. And then let's go to step 6, conclusion statement. All right, therefore, now when we're writing our conclusion statement, let's try to do it all in standard form. So let's take our question. We have 5 minus 2. And then we have our answer, and let's write it in standard form without the brackets, without the positive sign, and we just have 3. So this is our integer statement in standard form. 5 minus 2 equals 3. Okay, so this is the easiest type of question when it comes to subtracting with integer tiles. All right, let's go to step 2. Example 2. All right, so step 1, draw the first integer. The integer is -4. All right, so let's draw it in. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 negative tiles. That represents our first integer. Okay. Step 2, see if we can take away the second integer. Well, the second integer is -2. So let's look at our diagram here. Is it possible to take away 2 negative tiles from this diagram? Yes, it is. It is possible. So let's circle 2 negative tiles, and let's show the arrow that we're going to remove them. Remember, the whole point is we're removing tiles. All right, let's go to step 2. Let's draw an equal sign or an arrow. So once we take away these 2 negative tiles, what remains? Okay, so redraw what remains. Number 5, step 5. So what remains is 2 negative tiles. Okay, let's write our answer in integer form beside it or underneath our tile diagrams. And let's rewrite it let's write a conclusion statement in standard form. So what we didn't do is I forgot to write our question in standard form. So let's review again. When it comes to negative integers, we keep the brackets, we keep the negative sign unless it's the first integer. So the first integer is -4, so I don't need the brackets, but I do need the negative symbol. Subtract, and the second integer, we must have our brackets. Okay? All right, so let's write our therefore statement. So we're going to copy this. We're going to copy our question in standard form. -4 subtract -2 equals, and then what was our answer again? Our answer here was -2. Okay, so these two questions represent the easiest type of questions where when we go to remove the second integer, the tiles are already there. That's why we haven't used step 3 or 4 yet. Okay, let's go to example 3. All right, so -2 subtract -5. So let's rewrite this in standard form. The first integer is negative, so we can take off the brackets. So we'll have -2 subtract. The second integer is -5, so we need to keep the brackets because it's the second integer in the question. All right, so let's draw the first integer. Step 1 is always, let's draw the first integer. All right, so we've got the -2. Okay, so let's ask ourselves, is it possible to take away the second integer? Well, in this case, we have only 2 negatives here, but we have to take away 5 negatives. So how many negatives are actually missing so that we can have 5 negatives in total? I hope you said -3. So I'm going to use a different color here. So I'm going to bring over 3 negative tiles. Now I want to repeat why it's 3 negative tiles. Remember, I already have 2 negative tiles from our first integer. I have to ask myself, can I take away 5 negative tiles? Well, I only have 2 negative tiles, but if I add 3 negative tiles, that makes 5 negative tiles. Now, if I simply add 3 negative tiles, that changes this integer. So I also have to add 3 positive tiles, or 3 zero models. Now this was step 3 here. If you can't take away the second integer, add just enough zero models so you can take away the second integer. I needed 3 negatives, so I added 3 zero models. All right, step 4. Do not circle the zero models. Now, when it came to addition of integers, we always circled and took away zero models. When it comes to subtraction, we don't circle zero models. Now, let's take away the second integer. Okay, so now ask myself the question, is it possible to take away 5 negative tiles? Well, yes it is, because I have my 5 negative tiles right here. And I'm going to take those away. Make sure you draw this arrow in to show that you're taking them away. Okay, let's go to step 2. I can draw an equal sign or an arrow. So redraw what remains. Well, what remains after you take away the 5 negatives? Well, what remains is 3 positives. So let's draw in our 3 positive tiles. Okay, and then beside it, we can put our integer answer, +3. All right, let's write a therefore statement. Therefore, let's go back to our standard form here. We have -2 subtract -5 equals 3. Because the answer was positive, we take away the brackets, we take away the plus sign. Okay, so that got a little bit complicated. So hopefully you understood a little bit about that. All right, let's go to example 4. Let's draw the first integer. Oh, sorry, let's rewrite it in standard form. +2 subtract positive 4. So the first integer is positive, so we take away the brackets, take away the integer sign, the integer symbol, subtract, and then the second integer is positive. We take away the brackets, we take away the sign, and we're just left with 2 minus 4. Okay, let's go through our steps. Step 1, draw the first integer, positive 2. Okay, so that's my first integer. Ask yourself the question, is it possible to take away the second integer? Well, the second integer is positive 4. Can we take away positive 4 from our tiles here? No, we don't have enough positives, but we do have 2 positives. So how many 0 models do we need to add so that we can have 4 positive tiles here? Okay, hopefully you said 2 0 models. So I'm going to add my positive 2, okay, because again, we want to make 4 positives to take away. But I can't just add 2 positives, I have to make them 0 models. Okay, now remember, we needed to add 2 0 models because I have to take away 4 positives. I already had 2. So I don't want to have 4 0 models here. I only want 2 because that would make 1, 2, 3, 4. All right. So ask yourself the question again. Is it possible to take away 4 positives? Yes, it is. So I'm going to circle my 4 positives and show that they are being taken away with an arrow here. Okay. Let's write an equal sign or an arrow. So once we take away the second integer, let's draw what's left. What's left is 2 negatives. Okay, all right. Let's write our integer answer below it or beside it. I've got negative 2. And let's write our therefore statement. Remember, our question in standard form was 2 minus 4 equals, and then let's look at our integer answer of negative 2, no brackets, negative 2. Okay, so we had 2 questions that were similar, where we had to add 0 models to take away the second integer. Right, let's go to example 5. All right, let's rewrite our question in standard form. Negative 3 is the first integer. We can take away the brackets, so we have negative 3, subtract, and the second integer is positive 1. So we can take away the brackets and take away the positive symbol, and we're just left with 1. Negative 3, subtract 1. Okay, let's go through our steps. Let's draw the first integer. The first integer is negative 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay? All right, I'm going to highlight the second integer. Ask yourself, is it possible to take away 1 positive from this tile diagram? Well, the problem is we don't have any positives. So we can't take away 1 positive. So how many 0 models would we need to add? Remember, we have to take away 1 positive tile. There are no positive tiles here. So hopefully you said 1 0 model. Okay, now the reason why I had to add 1 0 model is because I have to take away 1 positive tile. There are no positive tiles here. All right, ask yourself the question again. Is it possible to take away the 1 positive tile now? Yes, it is. So let's circle it and show that the arrow is being taken away. Okay, let's draw the equal sign or an arrow. So now let's draw what remains. What remains after you take away the second integer, after you remove the second integer? I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 negative tiles. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, I'm going to put my integer answer beside it or below it, and I'm going to write my therefore statement. Okay, let's look back to our question in standard form. Negative 3 subtract 1 equals, and then our answer is negative 4. We take away the brackets, negative 4. So we've done 5 examples together. So what I want you to try and do is I want you to try and follow the steps and see if you can complete example 6. When you finish example 6, then please show your completed note for section A, method 1 to Mr. Ueda. All right, good luck. Thanks for watching. Bye.